Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast, the place for scrappy entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran and former brick-and-mortar boutique owner who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. This is episode 2 of our 4-part series, walking you through my process for planning and crushing your goals this year. In last week's episode, we talked all about how to analyze your results from last year and set financial goals for the year ahead. If you haven't done that for your business yet, please go listen to that episode and take an hour or so to go through the process that I talk you through. This is the first step in the planning process, and you cannot skip it. Today, we're diving into a little something I call the cash method. It's my simple 4-pillar framework designed to cut through the noise, battle shiny object syndrome, and keep you focused on what's truly important when trying to grow your e-commerce business. Ready? Let's dive in. So, what is the cash method? It stands for calculate your target, amplify your message, supercharge your results, and hone your strategy. Let's dive into each of these a little bit deeper. When it comes to growing your business, you have to know what you're trying to achieve. You can't improve what you don't measure. We started talking about this last week when I impressed upon you the importance of setting profit goals in your business. But calculating your target doesn't just mean how much money you want to make. It's also about understanding how your individual KPIs work together to hit the financial goals you've set. And when I say KPIs, key performance indicators, I'm talking about traffic conversion, AOV, and your margins. All of these KPIs work together, and if any one of them is off, it can make it impossible to reach your targets. For example, let's say you have a great conversion rate, a killer AOV, and really good margins. At the end of the day, if you don't have enough traffic coming to your site, you can't make the money you're trying to make. On the flip side of that, maybe you have a ton of traffic, but your conversion rate is terrible. In that case, it doesn't matter how many people are coming to your website. If your website doesn't convert them into a paying customer, then you're still not making money. Now, we're going to talk more about these KPIs and how you can leverage them in next week's episode, but I want you to start thinking about your e-commerce business as a math problem, because that's what it is. If you know that you want to make X dollars in profit, then you need to find the combination of these KPIs that are going to add up to that dollar amount. Next, it's time to amplify your message. At the end of the day, no matter how good your product is, if people don't know you exist or you're not consistently marketing yourself, there's no way you're going to hit your goals. If you've heard me talk about the cash method before, I probably spoke specifically about email marketing at this stage. And that is still true. I don't believe you can have a long-term sustainable e-commerce business or any online business really without email marketing. That includes both a strategic automated email system that works for you on autopilot and a solid campaign strategy that keeps you top of mind for your email subscribers, converting first-timers, and bringing your customers back again and again. But the idea of amplifying your message can be expanded to include smart marketing strategies in general. For example, intentional marketing campaigns, compelling copy that speaks directly to your perfect customer, and even your organic social media strategy. The point of this pillar is that you need to be able to connect with your target audience and consistently show up. And don't get confused, this doesn't mean you need to be in all the places and do all the things. It just means you need to do a few things really well. I'm always going to advocate for doing fewer things better. Once you've got the foundations figured out, it's time to fast track your success. Historically, when talking about supercharging your results in the cash method, I've referred specifically to paid ads. And that hasn't changed. There's a reason why we've focused on ads in the lounge since day one. Organic is slow AF for most people. I know you've heard the stories, and maybe you've even had a biz friend who went viral on social media and their business blew up overnight, but that's the exception, not the rule. What makes ads so powerful is that you are getting in front of an audience that you wouldn't otherwise be in front of. So when you're thinking about supercharging your results, yes, that could mean ads, but it could also mean getting in front of other people's audiences. When you're just starting out, that probably looked like exhibiting at in-person markets or selling on platforms like Etsy and Amazon. That could still be the case even if you've been in business a while. It could also mean working with influencers, collaborating with other small businesses, getting PR coverage, or doing wholesale. At the end of the day, this pillar is all about leveraging audiences that other people have worked hard to build and get your product in front of them. Last, but certainly not least, is to hone your strategy. One of the biggest mistakes I see most entrepreneurs make is they try to do too many things, they don't do any of them well, and when things don't give them the results they're looking for, they give up too quickly. If you take nothing else away from today's episode, please remember this. The best and most successful businesses are not following every shiny object and changing their strategy on every whim. Instead, they're relentless about improving their results over time, getting better and better at the things that have proven to work for them. So while you may get FOMO when you hear me talk about marketing strategies on the podcast or when you see other people in your industry doing things that you think are cool, it doesn't mean you have to do them. Yes, there is likely going to be a time in your business when you have to say, you know what, the strategy ain't working for me. And there can be a fine line between adapting and staying stuck. But more often than not, I see people jumping from thing to thing, just looking for some magical silver bullet that is going to revolutionize their business. And that's just not how this works. We need to use the data at our disposal to consistently improve over time. That is why I am such a proponent of doing less, but better. This is a concept that will come to life over the next 2 episodes in this series. So, what are your next steps? Now that you have an overview of the cash method, I want you to go back to the yearly review that you did. Reflect on your marketing strategies and priorities for the year. Were you listening to the data to make decisions? Did you double down on what worked? Were you jumping around, always looking for the next best thing? If you had this framework in mind, the cash method, what, if anything, would you have done differently? If there's nothing you would have done differently, keeping this framework in mind, then what is it you will continue to do this year? What are you going to double down on? What are you going to let go of? What is something new you might want to try? And then I want you to make note of your KPIs. What's your average monthly traffic, conversion rate, average order value, repeat customer rate, and your margins, both gross and profit? Next week, we're going to dive deeper in how to leverage these KPIs to make decisions about what to do next in your business. Lounge members, our first quarterly planning workshop call is next Monday, January 20th. If you haven't completed your yearly ops and marketing playbook, you know what to do. Remember, the goal of this series is for you to listen and implement what we're talking about. So make sure you carve out some time on your calendar to do this reflection before next week's episode. And that, my friends, is a wrap. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more about growing your e-commerce business, get started with my free resource library at ecommercebadassery.com/free stuff and get an invite to the Lounge, my e-commerce marketing membership. When you're ready for one-on-one support, apply to work with me at ecommercebadassery.com/apply. Before you go, would you do me a quick favor? Leave a rating and review and tap that follow button. This pushes me up the chart so I can support more scrappy e-commerce entrepreneurs just like you. I'm on a mission to reach as many as I can, and I could really use your help. Thanks so much in advance. Until next time, e-commerce friend, stay badass.